Welcome back, brothers and sisters. I am Braden. This is Langley Outdoors Academy, the place where we not only talk about what's going on in the gun world, but also how we're going to fix it together. And the content that I'm going to show you tonight is some more excerpts from the SCOTUS hearing around Chevron deference. Now, no one else is covering it like this. I think this is something that you guys need to hear because the justices, last night I showed you Gorsuch. Today, I showed you Gorsuch. Right now, I'm about to show you Kavanaugh. The things that he says you're not hearing anywhere, and you guys need to spread this out because it speaks directly to our case. And in some cases, that the comments that were coming through on these videos, it was giving people hope because it was saying things that they are not being shown anywhere else. That's why what we do. Everything will be linked in the description box below. And of course, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn the notification bell on. And as you guys can see, before we get into it, I'm obviously in Vegas for SHOT Show. I come a couple days early, kind of refresh, rewind, and get a little bit of time away from myself. But we're still doing this content because we have a mission together. So let's get into this. I want to show you something that Brett Kavanaugh said in questioning the government around Chevron deference. This is everything. Watch all three of these clips. You guys are going to want to spread this out because how many of you feel exactly like this?
A few questions. I think the other side's argument suggests that the basic analytical concern at the heart of Chevron is that it treats law as policy, and that's antithetical to our constitutional structure and the rule of law. And that's why the footnote 9 question is so important, I think. Because if you use the traditional tools in a non-agency case and got an answer, that suggests it's a statutory interpretation question. And you're saying, no, you can stop short of that in an agency case at some difficult to define point, and then treat the rest of the case as a policy call for the executive branch. And that's treating what was a law question in a non-agency case as a policy question in an agency case, and it's the same question. So it's transforming law into policy. And that's very difficult, I think, to accept if you accept the idea that a premise of the rule of law is that the executive and the judiciary can't just treat the laws passed by Congress as mere expressions of policy that they can change. Respond to that.
So I hear that.
All right, so do you understand what he just said? What he just said was Chevron deference, and this is a big paraphrase, again, it's all recorded for you, but he just said Chevron deference is antithetical to our constitutional framework. He just said executives cannot just come through and interpret written laws by Congress as policy, and it's very hard to accept. Understand, this conversation that they're having is around Chevron deference, the one thing that all the executive bureaucratic operations and agencies, all of them use as their expertise interpretation to make up laws whole cloth because Congress did not address exactly what they're talking about. A real world example for the 2A, you're talking about pistol braces, frames and receivers, readily convertible. All of these things that they've done recently, changing what the definition of a frame or receiver is, that's what he's talking about, and he's just getting started. That was just clip number 1. Let's get to clip number 2 because the pressure amps as we go forward, and there's 3 total.
Discussion of this would be taking power from the executive and granting it to the judiciary. I guess a different conception of this, of Chevron, is that it's taken power from Congress and shifted it to the executive and allowed the executive, in essence, to unilaterally make policy without Congress. And one of the concerns historically from the beginning of this country was unchecked executive power. And you hear presidents criticized all the time, whether it's Roosevelt or Reagan or Bush or Obama, are criticized for exercising unchecked power. So the concern is about Chevron and us ushering in aggressive assertions of unilateral executive power. And that's the concern that I think the other side has, not about the judiciary taking power, but the judiciary having taken it from Congress and shifted it to the executive, contrary to our usual concerns.
Exactly. That's exactly what they've done. We've covered on this channel videos of Jim Jordan sending letters to the ATF from his Judiciary Committee, of which he's the chairmanship, saying you have usurped the power of Congress from the legislative branch into the executive branch. That's exactly what Kavanaugh is stating right there. The executive branch just uses executive bureaucracies to make up laws whole cloth. He just said it. Guys, the reason that this is so crucial to cover and that no one else is covering is because it took a 4-hour live stream to get these clips. That's why we are so passionate about these things, because this is the stuff no one shows you. It's incredibly important to understand what's happening in these Supreme Court hearings, because it speaks to something beyond just they're against us, they're for us. It shows you the mindset. Now, yesterday, you had Gorsuch and you had Kavanaugh. Well, Clarence Thomas is pretty conservative. Alito's pretty conservative. That means all you got to pick off is Amy Coney Barrett, who is tending to lean against this, and then you got Roberts, who's a wild card. Well, you only need 5. Chevron deference could be dying very soon. Now, here's the last one, and he puts a wonderful bow on it. Again, this is crucial.
Which is, there was talk about democratically elected political branches, but I just want to get your agreement on something that I think you'll agree on, which is the role of the judiciary historically under the Constitution to police the line between the legislature and the executive to make sure that the executive is not operating as a king, not operating outside the bounds of the authority granted to them by the legislature. Do you agree that's a proper judicial role, I would assume?
I, of course, agree with that, but I think Chevron is consistent with that. The court polices the executive at step 1 by ensuring that Congress's own choices are put into operation, and it further polices the executive at step 2. As the court said in Kaiser, reasonableness is a test that agencies can fail, and so there's work to be done there, too, to make sure the agency doesn't transgress some outer bound or line that Congress set.
Thank you very much.
Justice Barrett.
So you understand that the woman was the Solicitor General. She was arguing for the state. Again, Kavanaugh, that's 3 statements asking the state how you think you can do this. In this case, he said our entire Constitution is to prevent an executive from being a king. It looks like they're doing that just by making laws and circumventing Congress. Guys, the stuff and the level of importance that this creates is massive, and I hope you guys are enjoying this. I hope you guys are sending this out, because this is the stuff that will determine our next steps, and I want to make sure you guys see it and hear what they're talking about in SCOTUS, and thank you for watching. I'm Braden. I will see you on the next one.